What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, getting ready for the Super Bowl. Today's show is going to be a mailbag video. I put out a call earlier this week saying, hey, get your questions in, then I'll answer your questions on the show. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. The first question comes in from an OG, always a frequent commenter on the show. Appreciate you, Jacob. So Jacob Youngblood says this: if the Broncos can't get Rodgers or Wilson, that would suck. Should we roll with Locke one last time or draft someone at pick number 9? And then also ask, if the Broncos don't draft a quarterback with pick number 9, what position should the Broncos draft then? Edge, linebacker, or offensive tackle? And we got another similar question, by the way, from Hayden Terry. So we kind of lump these together. Should we roll with Locke one more time? So I'm going to answer this question bit by bit. First things first, let's tackle the quarterback position. Here's my preference order of what I would like to see the Broncos do this offseason to get their next quarterback, or who will be the starting quarterback for the Broncos. So for me, plan A is trade for Russell Wilson. If it's attainable, go out and make a splash trade, make a blockbuster move, and bring Russ to Denver. Plan 1A, A1, whatever you want to call it, is Aaron Rodgers. Neck and neck with Russ. I just got Russ by a hair in my book because of the age factor. You get an extra 5-6 years most likely with Russell Wilson. For me, that's worth it. Plan C is Kirk Cousins or Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think either quarterback is as bad as we make them out to be. Sure, they're not the sexy option, but with the right coaching, we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo go to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game. The guy's won in the postseason. Sure, he isn't a slam dunk quarterback, but I don't think he's as bad as we sometimes drag him through the mud for. And same with Kirk Cousins. You look at Kirk Cousins' stats, and I bet you'd be surprised. He's been one of the top statistical quarterbacks the last couple of years. He just hasn't been able to win games. And hopefully, with a better staff and just better pieces around him in Denver, he could do that. Plan D is draft a quarterback. I've got an asterisk there. There's really only 2 quarterbacks I like in this draft class that I would absolutely want to see play in Denver. The other quarterbacks, just kind of so-so on, at least at this point in my draft process. And then Plan E is Drew Lock or free agency. Plan E and Plan D could swap if you don't get my top 2 guys. And then I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have Drew Lock than Sam Howell. That's a little spoiler alert. So that's where I stand right now for my preference order for the quarterback position. Speaking of Drew Lock, though, do you want to give Drew Lock another shot? Are you still in on Drew Lock? Because I watched an awesome highlight today. It was Drew Lock going deep to KJ Hamler in that preseason game in Minnesota. And I was like, damn, Lock maybe could do it again. I don't know again, but maybe I was too quick to rule Drew Lock out for the 2022 season. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Let's revisit Jacob Youngblood's question, though. So, we talked about if you can't get Rodgers or Wilson, should you roll with Locke or pick someone at 9? We'll look at some draft options in a little bit. But if the Broncos don't draft a quarterback with pick number 9, what position should the Broncos draft? Either edge, linebacker, or offensive tackle? Well, to answer that last question, I'd go edge. But if the Broncos do want to draft a quarterback, okay, at that number 9 spot, these are the 2 guys I would go for. Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. They're pretty distant quarterbacks, actually, in terms of comparisons. Kenny Pickett's your more polished quarterback. He does a lot of things very well. He doesn't jump off the page anywhere. He doesn't have insane arm strength either. But then on the other side of the table, you've got Malik Willis, who's a little more raw, okay? Now we're getting out all the cliche draft terminology, but he's got a cannon of an arm. He's the most athletic quarterback in this draft class, and there's a lot of plays that he makes that no one else in this draft class can make. They're just a little too far and in between. He probably needs some time to learn and sit behind a veteran, and maybe in year 2, he's ready to take over for the starting quarterback. Listen, I could get drunk on watching Malik Willis highlights. If you ever want to watch quarterback highlights, watch Malik Willis highlights, because there's some plays he makes when the pocket breaks down and he rolls out and on his back foot effortlessly just flicks it 50 yards downfield. No one else in this draft class can do that. The issue with Willis is you don't see those plays enough. It's the non-highlight plays. You're like, this is not someone you draft number 9 overall, so it's about putting it all together. Broncos' biggest needs for me, though, is number 1, quarterback. And then, like I said for Jacob's final part of his question, I'd go edge over linebacker and tackle. To me, the edge is just a bigger priority not only in the Broncos offseason needs, but in general in the NFL. Linebacker, the position itself is kind of deflating a little bit. It's almost like Venezuelan or Colombian currency. It's just not what it used to be one day. And so I think the edge position in the NFL is just something you chase after because they can change the game. With that all being said, though, before we get to the next question, who do you want the Broncos to pick at that number 9 spot? Let me know who you would like to see Denver go out and select, what name you want to hear Roger Goodell read at the podium when the Broncos pick is in. And now I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that moment where it goes, pick is in, and then we wait and, get happy feet. Next question coming in from All Out Broncos 1858, another great supporter of the show. Appreciate the question, All Out Broncos. He asked, if Sam Howell or Desmond Ridder are available for us in the second or third round, should we take a chance on them? Not a bad thought. I liked how you said, should we take a chance on them? Because that's definitely not, in my book, a good plan A for a starting quarterback. When you got 2 seconds and 2 thirds in the upcoming draft, I guess you could, because the quarterback position is so hard to nail down and frankly can be a bit of a crapshoot even for the experts. I don't mind just tossing a third rounder on a quarterback, and if you've got other ideas, right, if you already have invested in a quarterback somewhere else, sure, give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, that's your plan B. But to go head-to-head with these two guys, let's break down them a little bit. You can look at the stats there. Ritter's the kind of quarterback, almost similar-esque to Malik Willis, where some plays he makes where you're like, this is an awesome quarterback. I want to see him on my team on Sunday. But unfortunately, those plays are just too far and few and in between. So there are other plays where you're like, Ridder, what are you thinking? Why is that your read? Why did you go to there? There was no play to be made. And then for Sam Howell, his comparison is Baker Mayfield. And if you're going to draft someone that's a Baker Mayfield light, I don't know how jazzed up you get about that idea. And Sam Howell, I just don't think he has the arm strength. His accuracy is so-so. He regressed a lot his senior year. It seems like he's the kind of quarterback that needs a lot around him to be right, to be successful. And to me, that's not a quarterback you go out and get to make your QB1. So for that reason, I really don't like either of them. If you want to draft them in the third round, by all means, knock yourself out. And if it works out, great, because I can easily be wrong. A lot of experts, a lot of mock draft analysts are wrong all the time. So if you want to invest a third-round pick on an idea of a quarterback, sure, worth it in my book. Guys, if you want to get on a future mailbag, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel. Join us here. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers. We really appreciate it. Love doing what my job is, which is putting out Broncos content all year long. We don't take any days off here at Chat Sports. So hit that big red button, subscribe if you want more Broncos content coming your way throughout the entire offseason. Next question coming in from Ben Simmons, jump shot. Well, it's going to be a jump shot in Brooklyn now. Are we all in on Bradley Chubb, Malik Reed, and Jonathan Cooper, or drafting edge a priority? I'm not all in on that as a future 3-man rotation. When I say future, the next 2 to 3 years. One, Chubb's going to be maybe out of here after this season, right? 5th-year option. Going to be picked up, so was it 2018, 2019, 2020, 21? Yeah, 5th-year option, 2022. I don't think he'll be re-signed unless he has a baller year. So, in my opinion, you don't pass on a possible game changer. And there are a lot of great edge rushers in this draft. We'll look at my top edge rushers here because there are some guys that, I kind of foam at the mouth a little bit and fall in love with. So I don't have the 2 biggest names, which is Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson. They're going to go in the top 5, so the Broncos really don't have a shot at them at number 9. But David Ojabo, I like a lot. He's got that nice balance of speed and strength, and he just beats his tackle around the point of attack and gets to the quarterback. Jermaine Johnson's a lot of fun to watch. I like him a lot mostly because he's also very good in the run game. He can read a offense very well, and he can stop the run just as well as he can rush the passer. Arnold Ebiketie, he's more of your prototypical bull rusher, pass rusher. I wouldn't call him like a Von Miller because not everyone's going to be a Von Miller, but more that style of play, we'll say. George Karlaftis, a lot of people are very high on him. I'm actually not super high on him. He's the kind of player that when I watch his highlight tapes, it goes, okay, you made a play because the blocking assignment was blown and you were untouched in the backfield and you just lit up the running back. Great, awesome. That's not going to happen all the time in the NFL. You don't get miscues on the NFL offensive line nearly as much as you do in college. So for that reason, I'm a little out on Karlaftis just because a lot of his best plays came from plays on broken assignments on the offensive line. Drake Jackson, I think an ESPN mock draft had him going to the Broncos, but Nathaniel Jackson, he's very lengthy, but he's rather young. He's 21 years old. He'll need some time to just get up to NFL speed, and so I don't know if the Broncos actually could kind of work well if you want to hand off from Chubb to Drake Jackson after this season. So those are my top available edge rushers between rounds 1 and 2, but I'm very high on David Ojabo and Jermaine Johnson. Different kind of styles. Jermaine Johnson is very good in the run game, and Ojabo, a junior, a younger guy, I guess, but broke out this season for Michigan. No one saw it coming. I don't want to just jump all the way in on him because what if he is a one-hit wonder? Maybe, maybe not, but I like those two guys a lot for Denver. Ojabo probably won't slip into the second round. Jermaine Johnson might. I'm kind of reaching on him to begin with. We'll tackle some other questions in a moment, but first, BetUS is our proud sportsbook partner. You guys have heard me talk about them before. Listen, the Super Bowl is just a couple days away, depending on when you're watching this, or maybe even hours away. So go to chatsports.com/bet. Plug in the promo code Broncos125. Get yourself a 125% deposit bonus. You put $100 in, you get $225 to bet with. And you could bet on the Rams -4 or the over-under. I'm sticking with my pick all week. Bengals +4 and the under. Under's boring pick. I know that. But there's no better feeling than at halftime when it's like 10-3 and you're sitting there like Borat, king of the castle, right? And no one's going to get close to that over. So that's what I'm rolling with. Next question is from Eric Football Tech Gaming. That's a lot of numbers there. Would you want Carson Strong if we can't trade for a QB? If you probably noticed based on the rest of this video, I'm not a big fan of this quarterback class, and I'm not a big fan of Carson Strong. With that all being said, though, I want to know what you have to say. Who's your favorite quarterback in this draft class? I'll show you my top 5 in a moment, but let me know who your favorites are down below. For me, Carson Strong does not even crack my top 5. It goes Pickett, then Willis, and then you fall 50 feet. And you land on Ridder, Sam Howell, and Matt Corral. None of these guys, in my opinion, would have been drafted in the first round of last year's draft. And we may have 3 go in the first round of this year's draft because teams need a quarterback. And teams will watch enough tape to go, screw it, we can fix him. We can mold him to how we want it. But no, I really don't like any of them. I don't like Carson Strong all that much. He's got a good arm. He did some good things in Nevada this year. But the knee concerns are concerning for me. He injured his knee in in high school, and then banged up again in college. I really don't like Carson Strong. I'm sorry. If you do, maybe it's worth a 3rd or a 4th round pick, but I'm guessing he'll be picked way earlier than that because teams need a quarterback, and this year's short of quarterback supply. All right, we'll catch you guys later here on the Broncos Breakdown. Make sure you like and subscribe to today's show.